Hello, everyone. Welcome to your weekly Q&A ahead of Gameweek 4. We're going to answer all of your questions, so get them in. No Sam this week. She is back. She is working crazy hours at the moment and it's kind of all over the place. So she'll be back next week. But we've got a very adequate stand-in Gianni Batici. How are you, Gianni?
I'm very well, mate. This is the first time I've sat in this chair on this desk with this backdrop for a week, and it's very strange. I spend a lot of my life sat here, and because I've been away, and yeah, it's nice to be back. Nice to be back, and I associate this space in my house and this seat as I'm here to talk FPL.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't sit here for anything else. Like, I don't sit here and do my day job at this desk or anything like that. So this is FPL mode, and as of 30 seconds ago, I'm back.
Very nice. Yeah, you had a nice time away.
It was great, thank you, mate. Yeah, good to recharge batteries. I mean, I still thought about FPL a lot, but I didn't think about too much. I didn't worry too much about things like price rises and early transfers. I was like, I'm going to wait to the press conferences anyway. And I have missed out on a few 0.1s. I've seen my goalkeepers drop, like Iverson, who potentially was going to be one of my transfers out. But no, I'm in a good place. Where is Sam on? Sam's not on holiday, is she? She was on holiday last week.
She was on holiday last week, and now she's back doing various things, sort of just all over the place. So, and I think the kids are still around.
Oh yeah, still summer holidays.
I don't know how kids work. There's kids, I think, who are in a house that distracts her from doing stuff like this. So yeah, it's but I think from next week she's back. Hi everyone in the chat. A few people commenting on the sound and the intro music. I think the intro music and the lobby is a bit of a kind of at first, a few people were a little bit unsure, but I'm seeing more and more positive comments about it. It's nice. Wait for a nice, chilled sort of, vibe. That's the kind of idea as you're kind of waiting. It's not like the black box, like heavy. Trying to go for a bit.
Well, that's late night, isn't it? That's late night party black box. Exactly. You're nocturnal.
Exactly. Scout's supposed to be a bit more chilled, a bit more, especially for a stream like this. For anyone not aware, do drop your questions in the chat, and Gianni and I will answer as many as we can. Also, 50% of all money raised from Superchats will go to Gianni's charity, which you work for, which is Street Child United. Do you want to just say a little bit about Street Child United?
Yeah, awesome organisation. We do World Cups for street children. Like, we've got 280 kids from 28 teams going to Qatar in a month's time to take part in a World Cup. These are kids that have never left their cities before, don't have birth certificates, don't go to school, often live or work on the streets, and they're getting this amazing 2 weeks to represent their country and change their lives forever moving forward. So awesome organisation, supported very well by the FPL community, Scout more than anyone. So yeah, thank you so much, Scout, for supporting Street Child United.
Yep, 50% raise goes to Street Child United. The other 50% goes on new graphics and making the channel grow and gets bigger. So hopefully all kind of feeds into one and more money's raised and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, do get your super chats in if you want to kind of support both those things. Right, let's start at the top. Sayuj says, wasn't it Sam today? It was supposed to be. Gianni was a late addition into the mix, which is great. Quite a few questions about Robertson coming in. Sayuj asks, keep Robertson or move him for a cheap defender. Niraj says, should we give double Liverpool defence one more chance? Leo is good, says, will Robbo be benched? FPL Josh says Robbo won't be benched. What do you make of Robbo?
We've seen Simicast make a couple of guest appearances sort of the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but that's not because Robertson's been playing really badly. It's because there's no other people on the bench to come on and try and change the game, and Simicast is there with a bunch of kids. So look, Robbo's going to be starting. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start 3 games in a week. Sure, he could miss one, but that fear is there with a lot of players. I know a lot sold Robertson last week, and I get why. Many thought United would score, and they did. For this fixture and for the next 2 fixtures, good home fixtures, I think you hold Robertson. As I know you sold him last week, and I would have probably done the same. But this week, I'd be keeping him.
I don't think you can sell him this week, can you? I am worried, though. I mean, with the fixtures coming the way they are, the midweeks next week, I think Simicast starting is a very, very strong possibility in one of those games. I mean, the fact he was brought on when Liverpool were chasing the game against Palace and they went a man down. There was kind of talks that Robertson was losing his head a bit and Klopp kind of wanted to protect him. But clearly Klopp likes Simicast and he's a good player and has come on and done well, especially last season as well. So I think Simicast starts one of the next 2 games, either Bournemouth or the game midweek. That would be my guess. I don't think I can advise people to sell Robertson, though, because if he does start against Bournemouth, he's probably one of the defenders that I'd most want to have. So I think you have to ride it out this week. And if he starts this week, then maybe looking at selling him the week after. There's never really going to be a great time to sell him. That's what I thought, because you're always going to back Liverpool in most games for like a clean sheet and a win. You're always going to back him for some attacking returns. But I would just pick a game other than Bournemouth at home to do it, personally.
Yeah, agreed. And those attacking positions he's getting in, I know he hasn't had any attacking returns, but he is popping up ahead of Luis Diaz on that left-hand side a lot, and he is still on a lot of set pieces. Yeah.
KG in the chat says Liverpool forums all expecting a Robertson benching this week. Interesting. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Simicast come in for this one. It's a really poor start to the season for Klopp, and he might want to make a couple of changes. Doesn't have a huge amount of options of players to change. Can't change that front three with Jota out. Can't really change the midfield other than Fabinho coming back in. So what can he change up? Well, it's probably just that left back position, and maybe Nat Phillips coming in for Gomez if Konate and Matip are still out. There's not really a huge amount. The depth in that squad isn't that high.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. We've had our first super chat. Thank you very much, Ahmed Atia. Oh God, what a question! I love the way it's phrased. What the hell do we do with Mount? Maddison is a doubt, apparently. We were talking about this just before we came on.
And we said, let's not use up all our good content before we go on air.
Yeah.
Literally talking about this question, weren't we?
I know. Well, I was hoping someone would ask us. I mean, I've got Mount, and if you saw me on Black Box, I finished that show, and I basically said to Mark, I'm going to do Mount out for Gundogan, and that gives me the money to upgrade Iverson up to a 4.5 keeper for a hit. And then I literally had the transfer page open. I did the moves. I was on, when you're just on the confirm transfer button, and it just didn't feel right. I was just looking at Mount versus Leicester, and then he's got Southampton, and then I think it's West Ham and Fulham. And I just looked at these games, and I thought it wouldn't surprise me to see Mount turn up in this Leicester match.
Agreed.
It's probably the best game he could have. I look at all the teams in the league and I think, okay, Nottingham Forest are bottom for XGI, for XG conceded. They're the worst team statistically for defending. But Leicester are second from bottom in it as well. Maddison's out as well. Now you might think Maddison out might affect their attack, but it can also affect their defence. I mean, that control in midfield is important, and that's where Mount can kind of thrives and can kind of push forward from a midfield spot. So it just didn't feel right to lose him ahead of this match. So I'm giving him one more week. He's dropped again in price. I think you either sold him last night and avoided that price drop, or you keep him for Leicester. I don't think you sell him now. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Leicester fixture being like, if you're Chelsea at home, who do you want to play most in the league right now? Many might say Bournemouth, but Bournemouth can come and park the bus, and maybe after 60 minutes it's still 0-0, and then you score late. The good thing about Leicester is not only do they concede tons of shots and chances, they also have a go. They're always a team that look like they're going to score. So with that will play into Chelsea's hands. There will be plenty of spaces for Chelsea to score and score early. So I'm with you. I think that's one of the best fixtures Chelsea could ask for. Leicester at home to sell the guy that's on set pieces as well. We know how vulnerable Leicester are at set pieces. I say he's on set pieces. Chelsea have been rotating their corner and free kick takers, but he'll be on some of them. Reece James has been on some, Cucurella's been on some, but yeah, I wouldn't want to sell Mount. Also, you'd be bringing in an asset you're not 100% sold on as, and that was again the other part of that swing, wasn't it? It was like you weren't absolutely sold on his replacement. No. So I think those that have got Mount, you probably hold him. Maddison being injured doesn't surprise me one bit. We see this a lot with players getting niggles that have been linked with moves away in the last week of the transfer window. Look, I'm not saying that is what Maddison's doing. He could genuinely be injured, but there has been a lot of rumours linking him with clubs like Newcastle, and I just wonder if that's played part of the thinking as to him being left out.
Yeah, I think that's the big problem with Leicester, is that they've got so many players with question marks around them. If Tielemans, if Fofana still hasn't moved, they've got Maddison as well. No real reports of anyone coming in. And you've got to think, and then you've got Rodgers there as well. He's not going to want to get relegated with Leicester. He's not going to want to have a really bad start to the season again. It looks bad on him. I don't know. There's a big cloud kind of around that club at the moment, and it's weird because they finished last season so strongly.
Yeah.
Got to kind of the latter parts of Europe, had kind of most of their team back, and looked really good, but it's a really bad start from them. So yeah, my advice is if you haven't sold Mount already, just keep him for one more week and assess. It's Southampton away next week. If Mount does return, you can keep him for that as well. And then the good fixtures come. If he doesn't perform against Leicester, then I think it's just a fire sale of him, and we look to the next player. So,
try and commit to that as well. The mount holders, because it won't ever be a good time to sell him with those fixtures, because he might blank against Leicester. And you go, oh, give him one more week against Southampton. The best thing to do for me is go into this week saying, if he does blank or if he does look off it, then you are committed to selling him. Try and make that call early. Obviously, you can adapt to it, but there will always be that feeling with a team like Chelsea and Mount in good fixtures to go, it's a good week for him. Maybe I'll hold him. A bit like Robertson, it's never a good time to sell. Yeah, because that plays for a good teams involved in a lot of chances.
Exactly. I mean, my one concern about Mount is that he might not play because again, Chelsea have had that heavy loss to Leeds, and maybe Tuchel wants to kind of ring the changes, but there isn't really a lot of options in that side if he does want to do that. And actually, Mount was one of the better players in that Leeds match. He was the one with the energy. He was the one kind of getting forward, and it was kind of the rest of the team really that let them down. So I think he'll start.
Havertz will be first to drop out that front.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be, right? I mean, Havertz has been really, really poor this season. Just looks so laboured all the time. We'll see. Anyway, I'm giving him one more week, so that's kind of my advice on that. Let's have a look. No more super chats. Come on, guys, support Street Charge United. Get those super chats in.
Also, get the likes up. 373 of you are watching, team. 40 of you have liked it so far. I know I'm not as good. I'm an okay replacement for Sam, but it's no Sam, and many of you have tuned in for her. But do hit that thumbs up, guys, because the more likes, apparently, the more likes means more people see the stream, and therefore more people watch it.
All feeds into the algorithm, Gianni. All feeds into the algorithm. All the likes and comments and everything.
I'm going to start pushing this hard on my team review videos.
Yeah, your views are down. We need to have
I'm going to be
words.
like, right, on these videos, guys, can you all like my team reveal? Thanks.
Please. Multi-Levival. Oh, we've had another super chat and that's pushed my thing down. Multi-Levial asked about Mark's wildcard. So do check out the members video tonight with Mark and Andy.
Yeah, I'll be watching.
Which should be a good one. So 7:45. Head over to the Scout channel. I have no idea what Mark's doing with his wildcard. He's basically told me yesterday that he's made a whole host of changes. From the one he presented on Black Box. And I knew he would. I knew he wouldn't start with Rodrigo and Zaha on his bench. That was too much, I thought. So I reckon he's strengthened.
Does this mean Salah's in?
I am going to guess that he might be.
Yeah, I get it.
I can't see Mark not going into this World Cup without Salah for Bournemouth at home. But it will make Match of the Day challenge less interesting if he does. Next super chat, Neil. Should I bring Perisic in for Cancelo? Looking to fund moves for Rodrigo and Tony next week. Does the upside in EV make sense, or am I mad to sell Cancelo? Perisic in for Cancelo? What do you reckon?
I would say yes to Perisic into a huge amount of players in this game. There's probably only one or two defenders I would say don't sell him for, and Cancelo is one of those guys. I wouldn't want to sell Cancelo. I really wouldn't, because a team like City, they concede the fewest chances in the league. So there's those 6-point returns are more common for a Man City defender than any other defender in the game. Now, of course, Perisic has got that higher ceiling than Cancelo this season, because we've seen him, he's a little bit withdrawn in that more sort of deeper midfield role when he pushes forward. But he still has huge potential for attacking returns when they play teams at home, especially weaker teams. They've got a couple of them coming up. He's also more nailed than Perisic. Perisic will not start 3 matches in 6 days. Fact, right? Cancelo probably will start 3 and 7. So I wouldn't want to make that move.
You wouldn't do it. No, I mean, I look at Cancelo and I think, I look around all the other Man City options in defence. I look at Diaz, Stones, Laporte, Walker. I wouldn't be surprised to see any of them miss out in a given week. But Cancelo just isn't going to miss out. Like, he's too important. He's too good at that role. He can play at left back. He can play at right back. He's too good at dropping into midfield and supporting those midfielders, which is what Pep likes his fullbacks do. He doesn't have another fullback that can do that in the side. There's absolutely no danger that he's going to miss out whatsoever. So he's the best option in the best team in the league with the best defence in the league. Like, I think he's an absolute lock for me all season. I can't see myself missing him. And Perisic stresses me out. He's the opposite of that. Cancelo, you're getting reliable consistency, in that team. And Perisic, I saw lots of people buying him, and I just thought, why are you doing this to yourselves? I'm already stressed. I've owned him since game week 1. It's been horrible.
Yeah, same. But I did tell people to buy him ahead of game week 3 because it was obvious he was going to start game week 3.
Yeah.
Like, it was poor. Sessegnon was poor against Chelsea game week 2. But Neil, it's a really good question. Can you find another way to get to him? Like, there must be another compromise somewhere. I get you want to target Rodrigo and Tony. Maybe just target one of those. And therefore, that means by only having Rodrigo or Tony, you can still perhaps get to Perisic from another player. I'm on Tony, by the way. I bought him in ahead of game week 3. I'm so happy I made that move. I think Tony looks like the best mid-price asset in the midfield or attack at the moment. In that 7 to 8 million band, I think Tony's the standout option.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Mitrovic is the other one that I like the look of, but the fixtures are much worse. So I think Tony is a great pick, and
then move to Mitrovic in 5 weeks.
Exactly. So I'm envious of anyone with kind of Tony in their side. I mean, the games for Spurs. I mean, Nottingham Forest next. I would expect Perisic to start that one, and then it's West Ham away. I would probably expect him to start that one again if his minutes are managed.
The third one he misses.
And then it's Fulham at home, and I reckon he misses that one, and Sessegnon comes in. So
yeah.
And then it's
against his old club.
Yeah, and then it's Man City. So, it's the next 2 look good, and then the 2 after that don't look good. I don't know. I think you avoid. I mean, they're 2 away games as well. They're not. I don't think Nottingham Forest away is particularly easy given what we've seen from them so far. They've still got the kind of wind in themselves from coming up. West Ham, the derby, anything can happen in that. You just never know. Perisic is a good option, but I wouldn't be ripping my team up to bring him in, and I wouldn't be taking Cancelo out to bring him in either.
Yeah.
So I would say not do that. To do what you said and try and find another way to bring him in. FPL rank chase, is Cucurella still good for starts and points? It's funny how it can change around so quickly, isn't it? Last week it was like, oh my god, Cucurella's got an assist. He's the greatest player. Everyone bring him in. And Chelsea lose 3-0 to Leeds. It's like, oh no. Maybe we shouldn't be buying Cucurella. Maybe 2 Chelsea defenders is too much. You haven't got him, have you?
I don't have any Chelsea players,
no,
but
right.
I would say at 5 million, Cucurella's exceptional value and as likely to start as any Chelsea defender. Because, and Tuchel has said it, he can play in one of 3 positions. And most players in that Chelsea back line can play in one of 1 or 2. Yeah. Cucurella, if they're playing a 5, can be the left centre-back or the left wing-back. If they're playing in a 4, the left-back. So Cucurella is going to get... And I said this when he signed, before we'd even seen him against Spurs. I said, I think Cucurella is going to be a 7 or 8 games starts out of 10. So starts 80% of the time. You absolutely take that for a team that plays 3 times a week or twice a week every week to the World Cup. Good avenue to points. He was on corners against Spurs, the outswingers. I think that was his first corner in the Premier League, and he got an assist. He isn't, and you know this from Brighton, as like Cucurella's not going to go and get you bags of assists and goals, but he'll do well in the bonus point system, and he'll keep a lot of clean sheets, and he will pop up with the occasional assist. So at 5 million, what more do you want? He's a good buy. I still prefer James if you can find the extra million.
Yeah. I think when he was at Brighton, he was a bit more expensive than our others, and he never really got the points to kind of justify it. And I kind of thought he would kind of fall in the cracks. He wouldn't be that good an option at Chelsea because of the rotation. He wouldn't be that good an option at Brighton because he's too expensive for what we are. But I think actually the Chelsea move's good for him from FPL wise. I think he plays the majority of games. Like, I can see him giving rest to the centre backs when they need to with the Champions League. But also, I'm not totally convinced that Chilwell is first choice anymore.
No.
I think Cucurella could even already have ousted him as first choice, because it's interesting that Chilwell starts the first game and then doesn't play in the next 2. Like, there's your minutes being managed and being eased back into the team, and then you've got a £50 million signing whose main role is at left wing back where Chilwell plays. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw Chilwell taking the majority of minutes off Chilwell and then giving rest to the centre backs with Chilwell coming in if and when. So I think he's a perfectly good option going forward, and the Chelsea fixtures are so nice. So yeah, I think he's a buy. I'd rather have him than Perisic. How's that?
Oh, that is a statement.
How's that?
I would prefer Perisic to Cucurella, but I'm all for them both being good.
Perisic is way more exciting when he plays, but Cucurella, just in this period now over the next 4 weeks, I'm expecting more points from Cucurella than Perisic, I think. Am I? Do I want to hang my head on that? Yeah, I'll stick with it.
I'll remind you of that when Perisic goes and bangs a 20-pointer this weekend.
It's the next 2, isn't it? I mean, Perisic in the next 2 looks great because he's probably going to start them both. But then you're probably going to get another game out of Cucurella. And then when Perisic is playing Man City, Cucurella's playing Fulham.
Yeah,
So
fair.
can he kind of bring it back up? And he's a bit cheaper. I don't know. It's an interesting one. There's probably not a huge money between them. Angelo Davies, bench one, Bailey, Rodrigo, or Perisic.
Oh, easy one for me there. Really easy one. You bench Bailey. I know he started last weekend when we were quite surprised by that. And loads of sold him ahead of game week 3. And he started. He got an assist and he hit the bar from an amazing effort against Palace. Looked really good. Again in the week, he went Ings and Watkins in the cup, and Bailey was benched. Bailey came on and did score. There is a good chance Bailey starts, but there's also a good chance he doesn't. So let's say that's a 50-50 if Bailey starts this weekend. I genuinely think it is a 50-50. But if he starts, are we expecting points? How have Aston Villa looked in terms of attack this year? Not very good. Yeah, I look at Rodrigo. Difficult game, but he's been flying. You wouldn't put it past him to score if Leeds do. And you absolutely do not bench Perisic because he will start this weekend. So, yeah, that's an easy one for me. You bench Bailey all day long.
I agree. Easy decision. I think Villa are the worst of those 3 teams at the moment. West Ham is arguably the toughest opponent. I know they haven't started the season that strongly, but they were a top 7, top 8 side last year. I mean, Brighton are really good as well, obviously, but West Ham can turn it on. And I think Bailey is the weakest of those 3 players, given what I've seen so far this season. So all the signs point to Bailey being benched, which probably means he'll get a double digit and you'll be cursing us. But on paper, I think that's quite an easy stream decision. Oh, I said stream.
Yeah.
Nuisance BS says, Gianni, you're the perfect replacement for Sam. That's nice.
Oh, thanks, Nuisance. That's nice of you to say, mate.
People saying there's not enough flirting though, so maybe step it up a little bit. Have you heard of this?
Do you and Sam flirt? I've not witnessed this.
We get comments every stream saying how much we flirt. So
okay,
clearly, it's just amazing chemistry between us. Damien Bruns says, "Shout out!"
Have to get Lynn and Lee on the stream together.
I know.
Instead.
Yeah, we were going to do it. Oh no, I'm not going to say this in case we do it one day.
Okay. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, we might have something in the plans. James, hold or sell?
Easy hold. I'm looking to maybe buy Reece James this week. I probably won't. I'll probably go to Gundogan, but it's an option. Like, definitely do not sell Reece James.
Why would you? Why would anyone?
The fear of he's only going to play right centre back. But even when he plays right centre back, he can still get points.
You can't sell Reece James ahead of Leicester, Southampton, West Ham, and Fulham.
No.
No way. Like, he's already got attacking returns in 2 of his 3 games.
Yeah.
He's, Chelsea. Okay, this week, I wouldn't back completely on a clean sheet this week, given that Koulibaly's out, and we probably are going to see Reece James playing at centre back in this match. But are you not going to want Reece James for Southampton next week, and then Fulham in game week 4?
Chelsea's best player.
Yeah, he's their most attacking player. They'll sort this. Fofana's going to sign. They're bidding 60, 70, 80 million for him. Leicester aren't going to keep rejecting it. He will sign. As soon as Fofana signs, that cements Reece James back at right wing back. So definitely hold him. No way would I be selling him. Not a chance. FPL Spawns, Fantasy Football, is it too early for a poem? I've just read the poem. Yes, it is too early for a poem. FPL Spartans.
Oh, Spartans, we love your poems.
Not one of his best ones, I don't think. I mean, he's rhymed frown with him.
I'll tell you what, Spartans, put it in a super chat. We might read it out.
Yeah, maybe. That's your only chance. Alex H, James and Walker. James or Walker to Perisic this week or roll. Well, definitely don't sell James.
I don't mind the Walker to Perisic move, if I'm honest. I really don't. Walker was very poor against Newcastle, but look, St. Max can turn it on. I do think Walker's will probably be a 3 and 4 man. I don't think he's going to be a nailed Cancelo type where he starts 4 and 4. I think Walker will miss the occasional game. And remember, when Ake's back fit, he can play left back. Stones can play right back. They have signed a new left back who's not going to be playing first team football for a while, I don't think. But I much prefer Perisic to Walker. And look, if you're signing Perisic this week, guys, it's very easy to sign the guy that just went and got double digits last week. Just bear in mind, he will not start. He's very unlikely to play 3 games in 6 days. So when he gets his benching on game 2 or 3 of that little run, Don't be annoyed. You have to be able to take the rough with the smooth with Perisic, and you have to know what you're getting into. There will be times where he is subbed off on a clean sheet before 60 minutes and he gets 1 point. But there will be times where he goes and there will be a few times, quite a few, I think, where he gets double digits. So for me, you've got to be in it to win it. And I'm happy going there. And I'll probably start him every week, unless Conte makes it obvious he needs a rest. Then you might bench him. But he's so explosive. I'd want him in my team over Walker.
Well, they're the complete opposite players, aren't they? You've got Walker, who's probably going to steadily trickle along with sixes and the odd two when they concede and that kind of stuff. But he's never going to get you double digits ever.
Did he even score a goal last year, Walker?
Probably
not.
He normally gets one screamer a year, doesn't he?
And then 2 assists or something.
Yeah. He normally gets one. It wouldn't surprise if he didn't have any.
Last year he got 2 assists.
No goals.
The year before that he got 1 goal, 1 assist.
Yeah.
So, he's getting 2 attacking involvements
a season. Yeah, I know. It's surprising, isn't it, when you think about his pace and him playing for that team and the way they use the left back on the other side. How he doesn't.
When he burst onto the scene, he was a bit of an assist guy, wasn't he? I remember at Spurs, it was Walker getting loads of pullbacks. I mean, there's a season in 2012-13, which must have been at Spurs. He got 6 assists. Useful.
I remember when he signed for City. One of my Spurs friends was. He was like, he's a good player, but he can't cross, and he has got absolutely no end product at all whatsoever. And I think Pep just plays on that. Right, it's a bit like what Emerson Royale does at Spurs now. Conte said to him, "You can't cross, mate. Comparison. So just stop crossing." And now he doesn't cross, and now he's not going to get a huge amount of attacking returns probably. I would rather have Perisic than Walker. I don't really like Walker. I think he's boring. I think you could do something else with that Man City spot as well. Maybe a Gundogan or something like that. Maybe you want to move for Foden. Maybe you could, just having that spot open, I think just makes you a bit more flexible. And I think Walker could even be dropped at some point as well.
Yeah.
Like, I know they haven't got a huge amount of options at full-back, but they could move Ake to left-back and sell over to right-back. Stones can play at left-back as well. They've got this new young guy come in. And Walker's been really poor, I think, so far this season. So I would do Walker to Perisic. I agree.
Easy.
Yeah. Andrew Kolesnick. That's a good question. What's the fixture of the round? What game are you most looking forward to this week, Gianni? For me, it's Brighton versus Leeds. Could give out some valuable insight for key FPL players to purchase for my team. Very nice question. What game are you most looking forward to?
I think Spurs Forest could be a big one. I think that could be pretty high scoring. I think Forest will score at home, but I think Spurs will get tons of chances. My eyes, as always, though, are on the players I've just bought. And the reason I was so sold on Ivan Toney was the fixtures. Toney looked brilliant against Fulham. He was unlucky not to get that second goal that was ruled out for offside going against play. Rashford's was on the night after, which looked offside to me. And Brentford play Everton. And Everton have looked terrible at the back. I think Brentford and Ivan Toney could be one to really look out for. And therefore, I think that fixture, if things go well for Toney and he gets another goal, I think we could see people changing a lot in their teams to get Toney in, because the fixtures are still good for a little run. After Everton, it's Palace, Leeds, Southampton. And I just think not many teams are set up with 3 attacking forwards. They've got Haaland, Jesus, and an enabler. I think if Toney scores against Everton, the fact he would have gone 4 game weeks in a row with good returns, he's averaging over 8 points a game in the first 3. We'll see people selling the likes of Robertson down to a Williams to then convert a forward up to Toney. And they'll be taking money out the back to get Toney. Because at the moment, people are taking a bit of money out the back. They're not taking it overly seriously that they have to get that third attacker in. I think if Toney delivers 4 weeks on the trot, with the fixtures he's got, everyone will be beelining towards him. And then you can sell him to Mitrovic in 5 weeks' time, which everyone kind of wants to do planning forward anyway.
So let me get this straight. And this is the perfect example.
I'm ahead of the curve, is what I'm saying.
Well, this is the perfect example of what FPL does to us, because you're saying out of all 10 matches this week, the game you're most looking forward to is Brentford versus Everton, so you can see if Toney is a must-have. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it is. And that's because for selfish reasons, because I'm invested in Toney. And the way the game's set up this year feels like you're playing with 2-3 players each week, because so many have got that core 7 or 8 players that you need those 3 players that not everyone has got, your 3 differentials to do well. And Toney is my biggest one.
I mean, my counter argument is I would say that's the worst game this weekend, because I don't care at all. I haven't got Toney, I haven't got any Brentford players, and I'm never going to be getting any Everton players, I don't think. Mopé is due to sign, apparently. Maybe I'll watch him a bit to see. I was talking to FPL Prince on Twitter, and I said, be prepared if you sign Mopé to be frustrated. And he just said, well, I'm frustrated by all our players anyway, so we'll fit right in. I was like, yeah, that's probably about right. I think,
Everton, the team that create barely any chances and need someone really prolific to put their very few chances in the net of signing the guy that needs tons of chances.
Oh, he's a nightmare to watch. For me, I think the clear fixture this week that I've got interest in is Southampton United, the first game of the week, because I really want to see if United can kick on from that Liverpool match, or whether they're just going to go back to how they've been for the last 8 or 9 months. Because if they put in a performance like they did against Liverpool, against Southampton, and they win that game 3-0, and maybe we get another goal from Rashford, maybe Martial plays and looks good, maybe get a clean sheet, maybe Malacia's an option, and we start getting some options from United, I think that could shake up the template quite a lot.
Yeah.
So, we might see a Sancho coming into people's thoughts, a Rashford, a Martial. There's lots of players there who could have a bit of an impact. So I'm really I won't be watching it because I'll be doing the Match of the Day challenge, but I'm actually hoping for a big United win in that to shake the game up a bit.
If Rashford does score, people like him because he's 6.5. I can see Matt's just say he's starting Rashford in the chat. Just be wary. United are going to sign a wide forward, and with that, or forward, the guy that will drop out in that front three, first choice for me, even if he scores this weekend, Sancho will keep his place. I think Martial will be the leading 9. And then let's say Anthony comes in, he'll be in ahead of Rashford. So if Rashford does bang, don't buy him until that transfer window is closed and you see what business United have done, because there's a very good chance he won't be in the first choice 11 come September.
I think that's good advice for everyone as well. When this deadline ends, a lot of people are keen to make early transfers. A lot of people are keen to catch the price rises. Next week, of all weeks, is not the week to make early moves, because you just don't know what teams are going to buy, who's going to come in. Players you think are nailed on might not be so nailed on. Walker's a good example of that. For example, maybe City do go out and buy another fullback. Maybe they go out and buy a right back or a left back, and then that kind of changes the landscape on him. So there's a lot of things that can happen on the 31st. So do just hold your transfers and just absorb
as
those.
Loan deals as well.
Absolutely.
There are players like just looking at Chelsea midfielders. Okay, Gallagher's probably going to stay. He's 5.8. Barkley is 4.9. Let's say he goes to a mid-table team and is a starter every week. Hudson-Odoi is 5.3. Let's say he goes out on loan. Even Billy Gilmore, 4.4. Let's say he goes. These players, if they go out on loan, could be really good buys, pickups for that fifth midfielder. So again, just hold till the deadline.
What do you think of this 140 million they're talking about for Gordon and Fofana, with Hudson-Odoi and Chalobah going out on loan? Are they 140 million pounds better than those two players?
I mean, I think Hudson-Odoi is a better player than Gordon. It's a really strange one. The Chelsea centre backs that they've let go in. I mean, Louis Cole's gone on loan to Brighton. That was part of the Cucurella deal. Thank God he's not been sold. But Chelsea have also sold Tomori, who's one of the best centre-backs in Serie A. He'll be in the England squad, potentially in the 11 at the World Cup. And then they've also sold Mark Gay, who at Crystal Palace is doing really, really well. I think he was Player of the Year or Fans Player of the Year. So the amount of good players Chelsea are getting rid of, and potentially someone like a Hudson-Odoi, so Gordon can come in, seems crazy.
It doesn't it? I mean, Gordon is a good player. And obviously Tuchel likes him and wants and sees something, because I don't know, I find it difficult when you can clearly see that the problem in that Chelsea team is with the striker position with Havertz not really looking like he can kind of operate in that thing reliably for a whole season. It seems to me that's the obvious position to fill. It'd be interesting to see if what happens with Broja, because if he does go out on loan, I know what a talented player is. I know he frustrated a lot of people last season, but obviously he's a great talent. But if he does stay at Chelsea, and they don't sign a striker, there is a chance that he does break into that side this season. Yeah. So, all interesting, all kind of interesting things that could happen next week. Damien Brains says surname is pronounced Brains. Yeah, I said it right that time. Thank you for that. It's I wouldn't have thought it was pronounced Brains. BruYns. Would you have thought that was pronounced Brains?
I would have said Brines.
Brines. Oh, Brines. Okay. Yeah.
Brines.
I went Bruins, I think. Bruins. Gary Ash, as you looking at any Brighton assets? I am. I'm looking at Sanchez. I think if I was buying a keeper now, I would buy Sanchez.
So you're going to buy one next week then?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm going to hold off for Henderson, because I think in game week 6, the fixture run for Forest is brilliant. Bournemouth, Leeds, Fulham, Leicester, Villa, Wolves, Brighton. And he's the number one keeper, it looks like. For 4.5, making tons of saves, loads of recoveries. He just seems to be that kind of Pope mould type player who just does everything you want from a kind of goalkeeper.
He
So
did it at Sheffield United, Henderson, didn't
exactly,
he? He was in all our teams.
he's just a top quality goalkeeper. So if I was to buy one now, I'd get Sanchez because they've got Leeds and Fulham. I think if I hold off for a few weeks, I can move for Henderson, and that gives me a chance to assess Mount and do some other things. So I also like Raya as well in goal. I mean, Everton, Palace, Leeds, Southampton. That's a really nice run. Other than that, for Brighton, I like Pascal Gross. Obviously, he hasn't got penalties, but 5.7, I think is still a good price for him. I love Trossard. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this new fullback we've signed. That should mean that Trossard plays a bit further up the pitch. I just think he's a bit expensive at 6.5. I think you go for Gross and kind of save that money. I'll tell you who I do like, though, who I don't see in anyone's team, is Lewis Dunk at 4.5.
Well, pre-season, many were saying he was the best 4.5
Yeah.
option, but no one went with the 4.5 defender, did they? And then now Salah's 4.6, and you look at the Arsenal backline and go, oh, that's better than Brighton's. But Dunk offers so much goal threat too.
True, yeah. I think Saliba and Dunk are both good options. I mean, Brighton haven't created anything for Dunk yet so far, but that's no reason to say why they can't. We've got loads of creative players in the team, and he's always historically been a threat for us. So I think if you're in the market for a 4.5, because Saliba's gone up now, isn't he? I think he's 4.6. So if you've got 4.5, I think Dunk's the standout. I probably would lean towards Saliba. But if you've got like Ramsdale, Martinelli and Jesus, for example, you can't get another one. So then I'd probably go for Dunk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Phil
4.5 keeper, as I know you mentioned Raya and Sanchez, because I'm the same. I'm not going this week because I'm still not sure who I'm happy with. One I'm looking at next week is Guaita. I just like Palace defence, and not many of us have Palace players, and we know they're a really good defence when the fixtures turn. They've had an awful start in terms of fixtures. It's Man City this week, but then it goes Brentford, Newcastle, United, Brighton. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. I'm looking at both Guaita and Meslier as well as Raya. I don't think I'll go Sanchez, but yeah, options. I'd love, and now Henderson's had the price rise. It might price me out of him at 4.6, but yeah.
What I don't want is Ward anymore. That's the key thing.
I think we can agree on that one.
so sick of him. I was so confident on that at the start of the season, but it's turned around very quickly. Yeah, it turns out everyone else was right. I had a question from Phil, but I've lost it now. Was it Phil? Oh yeah, Phil Bailey. Chelsea should go for. It wasn't even a question. It was just Chelsea should go for Mitrovic. I like that.
Great signing.
Yeah. The reason why Mitrovic is so successful though is because there's a whole team built around getting him chances. He wouldn't. You stick him in that Chelsea team, he wouldn't be the same because someone like Sterling's just too selfish. They haven't really got a huge amount of creativity around the midfield. Yep. I mean, Reece James would love it, just sticking the ball on Mitrovic's head.
Yeah.
But
Tuchel would just never play with that type of striker. And it's the same problem with Lukaku. Lukaku's not a bad player. Watch him go and do really well in the Champions League this season for Inter. Tuchel wants to play with ticky-tacky build-up, lots of passes into the nine coming short a lot, bringing the wide forwards into play. He doesn't want to play back to front fast, which is what Lukaku wanted to do, which is what Conte does, which is why Lukaku and Conte work so well. But that's also what Mitrovic wants. Lots of crosses in, direct. So yeah, that move just wouldn't work. It would be like the Lukaku move all over again. The Chelsea 9 is a very unique position, and Tuchel's 9s don't often score huge amounts of goals. Ask Havertz or Werner or Lukaku. But he asks a very unique job of them.
Yep. No, good analysis. James White. Would you have Salah or De Bruyne on a wild card for game weeks 4 to 9?
I wouldn't go without Salah, period. I think De Bruyne is a fantastic option. There's ways of going both. You don't have to have Haaland. Knowing the minutes Haaland's going to get, potentially go Salah and KDB and have a front three of Tony, Jesus and Mitrovic.
If I was wildcarding this week, I would say Salah. If you were wildcarding next week, I would be half tempted to say De Bruyne. If I'm just picking one, if I had to pick one for in that time, because Liverpool got Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, Wolves, Chelsea, right? I think Newcastle, Wolves and Chelsea, they're not the easiest games, especially with Liverpool playing the way they are. Whereas in those 3 games, City have Forest, Villa and Wolves as well. So it's basically Forest and Villa versus Newcastle and Chelsea.
Yeah. Would you go KDB over Haaland? I think that's the question. For me, it's Salah's in, but you go, do you want KDB or Haaland? And I genuinely think, given the option this week, knowing what we're about to go into with the 3 game weeks, I think I'd go KDB, given the free swing.
I've got KDB and I'd go Haaland.
I've got Haaland, I'd go KDB. You always want what you can't have.
Always what you can't have. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a wait and see. It's a complete wait and see. I mean, everyone's talking about worries about rotation, but it could be that Haaland misses out in the Champions League. They haven't got the hardest group. I mean, they've got what, Sevilla, Dortmund, and Copenhagen. Is it? I mean, Sevilla, they should win that. They should win that game.
Yeah, Copenhagen at home, you think you'll get a rest?
Yeah, Dortmund have got, they've won the league without him last year. So I don't know. We don't know where the rest are going to come for Haaland. We are expecting them to be.
It's the 60, 70 minute games, though, isn't it? You're going to get 90 out of KDB more often than not. You're going to get 60 to 70 out of Haaland a lot. So would you prefer KDB's 90 or Haaland's 70? Again, that's up for discussion, I guess.
Yeah, true. There's not a lot in it. I just think Haaland is De Bruyne is an incredible player, but I never really feel like he's going to hit huge hauls. I feel like he's going to get you a couple of assists maybe and get you kind of like 8-9 points fairly regularly. But Haaland, I watch him in every match. Apart maybe even that Bournemouth match when he had 8 touches, he still could have come away from that with 12, 13 points. Every game,
be horrible watching.
It is. It's awful. Honestly,
it must be horrible.
Sometimes you can watch City and you don't have De Bruyne, and he plays quite deep and he's pinging lovely balls around and all that, and you don't have the same fear of just watching someone like Haaland just like standing in the middle, getting chances, getting shots. So I would there's not much in it. I would personally pick Haaland over KDB for the next sort of 6 weeks if I could, but I'm not going to make that move with De Bruyne, and that's how close it is. So
yeah,
not much in it. Matt Henley says KDB captain shout next week. Yeah, he'll be my captain for sure at home to Forest.
Yeah, see, I don't know if people will want to captain Haaland
because
of the minutes.
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point. Yeah, okay, yeah, good point. Maybe for that captaincy, maybe KDB is the better pick out of him and Haaland. I had another one as well that I was going to take. FPL Baden says, please explain price changes. Quite a few people asking the questions in this chat. I mean, I wish we could explain price changes. The fact is, we have about as much of a clue about them as you do. I use FPL statistics that gives a kind of a guesstimate on these prices. There's FPL Fix have them as well. There's different kind of ways in which people predict. It's all based on people buying and selling players, but occasionally you get FPL towers who decide to lock a player in price. Wildcards don't affect it at all. So this week there's been a lot of wildcards played. So I saw a few comments about Trent, wondering why he hasn't dropped yet. I imagine it's because there's been wildcards to lose him, and then that doesn't affect the kind of the price status. I don't think a lot of people are selling Trent for a transfer, for example. They're doing it as part of a shake-up, maybe of moving expensive defenders out and reshaping their kind of whole lines. So it's hard to predict. It's particularly hard to predict really early in the season as well. I'd actually say this season, though, the price predictor sites are doing really well. Last year, it was carnage. You had players going up at like 60% predicted and players dropping and all that kind of stuff. Whereas now I'm looking at them, if they're around 96%, they're going to go. They're probably going to go. Yeah. So
an example tonight, Leon Bailey's at 97.9%. He needs apparently around 2,500 managers to transfer him out between now and it's at 2 a.m. I think, or 1 or 2 a.m. He's very likely to drop to 4.8 tonight, guys. Leon Bailey. Yeah. Again, I'm selling him tonight because I don't want that other 0.1.
No, I think if you've got Bailey, you've got to get rid. Whenever I look at my transfers, I always think to myself, who are my kind of weakest links in this? And by far my weakest link in my team is Ward at the moment, which I can't move easily enough. So I'm thinking, well, how can I move Ward? I need to sell someone else. I don't want to do that for a hit, so I need to save 2 transfers. Hence why I'm keeping Mount this week. So yeah, do look at your team and see which are your main priorities. I think because I'm doing my sort of team selection video thing, and I'm just putting a little circle around the players. Green if they're fine, orange if they're a bit of a risk, and then red for the really sort of poor ones.
Nice.
And it does help because if you find yourself transferring out your green players, for example, to try and chase the next kind of big bandwagon, maybe you need to stop and just say, okay, now I need to focus on some of the weaker ones. Yep.
Like that.
I think that's about it. We haven't had a super chat in a while. Loads of good comments and interaction in the chat though, so thanks very much. I'll be back with Neil at 3:15 for team news. Gianni and I will be back next week with the team selection. We'll go live next week, Gianni.
Yeah, let's go live. I love interacting with the chat live.
Yeah.
Good to see everyone in there. 777 watching now. Guys, before you go, do give us a thumbs up.
Do give us a thumbs up. Do give us a subscribe on the channel. We are heading towards 80,000 subscribers, which would be amazing. Good luck with Game Week 4, and we will see you very soon.
See you guys.